Hello, my name is Erica Jane Christian with Ketchikan Museums, and I'm glad to be here with C.Ruby at her exhibit here at the Main Street Gallery, from bullet to blanket, and it's here throughout the month, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, make sure to come out and see this exhibit.
Don't miss out on the amazing exhibit From Bullet to Blanket. Will be on display till October 27th at the Main Street Gallery in downtown Ketchikan, where we take a closer look at the difficult details of fur fashion.
So this is where I struggled a lot. We needed to know the why. The why do I keep doing this job if it's extremely difficult? These are actually the cons that I have in my job descriptions, and they're all extremely convoluted and difficult. It's enough to where you want to bang your head against the wall and you keep asking yourself, why am I doing this if it's so hard? Well, the truth is, everybody loves what I do, and I want to not disappoint anybody in the process of doing what I do. So thank you, customers. Thank you, everybody, for supporting my work. If you'd like to read the handwritten details on each piece, there will be a short slideshow at the end of the video. You can just pause to read it. Well, because I'm Alaskan Native and at least a quarter Alaskan Native, I have the ability to go hunt my sea otters and traditional mammals and make handicrafts and clothing out of it, which is a really big plus. Welcome to my glutton. This is our big sea weasel. We feed them a lot of foods, but they are extremely important to the environment. They actually are a keystone species, whether they do eat a lot of the seafood, but they actually leave it back in the ocean like they're supposed to. And also, they actually are farmers. They actually sift up the soils in the sand and allow dead clams that have been there for 20 years to be tilled, and then new baby clams go back into the soil and grow better than what they have in the past. This photo is actually taken while I was hunting with the professional photographer Keely Yuyan from National Geographic. It was, of course, the rainiest days, and all 3 days were blowing 30 miles an hour with rain sideways, and of course that always happens. But we got a couple otters that day, and that was about all we could get because it was just windy and blowing so hard. But he had a great time, so we're also buds now. So.
Is this the second photo also from that expedition out?
No.
Okay.
This is actually one of my first large otters I shot. So it took a while to skin that guy, and I just wanted to show you guys how big they actually are. They're around 100-pound animals. So this is just size-wise to show you. And their fur is so dense that it's practically waterproof. The next step in my process is actually, after skinning and having the hides on salt, is to actually flesh them. This can take up to 30 minutes to do an animal, and it has to be soaked the day before you flesh it so it softens up all the meat. This is my friend Chevy. She's doing some of the labor just so she can learn how the process and learn the techniques. So we actually did 10 that day, and it took about 6 hours. After fleshing comes drying. I had to actually personally make a drying shed for all my otters, and I try to do at least 20 in a drying shed at a time, and you have to have a dehumidifier and a heater because I'm doing it towards the fall, winter. In October is when I start fleshing because there's no flies, the fat's easy to contain, and I recycle the fat. Actually, it goes to feeding chickens. This here was the actual seal that was served at the opening. We had seal meat at the opening, which was delicious, and everybody tried it and actually liked it. Here we have seal meat and seal fat. So the fat is actually rendered most of the time and used for fuel in your body to keep you warm. But if you have leftover, you can actually put it on the fire slowly and it'll drip like diesel fuel, and it'll increase your BTU 5,000 off that fire, especially when you're cold in Southeast. There's a shipping box in the exhibit because people don't have any idea of how much it costs to ship hides, and the possibility of them getting lost in the mail, and the insurance that you have to put on there is atrocious. So I wanted to make sure people understood the costs involved in actual shipping hides. And then you have to pay for the 10-inch hides to come back. So everything's expensive.
An eagle can't marry an eagle, and a raven cannot marry a raven. You must marry opposite of your clan. This lovebird vest is made completely out of natural bleached white and black sea otter.
Guess the Alaska furs. I made this for mostly kids and mostly for demonstration as far as tactile. I wanted people to be able to touch the furs. A lot of places and stuff where they have furs hanging, they don't have things to where they can actually touch them. And if you know your furs in Alaska, you'll guess probably most of them. But there are a few that nobody does know, like this actually is a coyote, not a red fox. And there are many in here that are significantly altered just for the purpose of them being a marine mammal. So these are actually coasters: a sea lion coaster, a seal coaster, a sea otter coaster, and a polar bear coaster. Well, as far as the Marine Mammal Protection Act goes, they have to be made into a handicraft. And so each one of these animals, the polar bear, the sea otter, the seal, and the harbor seal, have all been made into a coaster, so that makes them significantly altered and legal to possess. And if you want to know exactly which one you have, you just peek underneath the fur, and it actually has the name. So this is my whale vest, killer whale vest. It's called Tactile, and I actually left it a little on the raw side so people can see the work that goes into it.
Wow.
It will be finished, but in the meantime it was actually used for a presentation to show how many stitches go into the actual vest.
And how many different individual pieces comprise this vest, Christy?
There are 46 individual pieces on this vest so far, but there's still a liner to put in and some extra padding and some stay stitching.
So you said the name of the piece. Can you tell us a little bit about the pattern and what we're seeing in this form line?
This is actually a killer whale. So these are the teeth, the eyes, the blowhole, and the ribs and the whale and the fin.
And can you talk a little bit about the colored process? Because this is not, straight from the animal. I'm seeing blues and grays. Can you talk about coloring sea otter pelts?
Yes, I actually had these custom colors made just specifically for doing these types of work. So this is herring blue and whale gray. I only have a few whale gray hides left, so this is actually going to be very rare to have this color. It's not easy to duplicate the colors again once you've had them made the first time, so they won't match up. We have a unaltered sea otter hide. I think it's the first time a non-native gallery has obtained a permit from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife to actually have a unaltered sea otter hide, which has not been made into a handicraft, in their possession. It took me about 2 months to get them a permit and fill out 6 pages of paperwork in order to get them the permit. But that's so then I could stretch a sea otter and show them exactly what a sea otter is and how big it is. I tried to figure out how to make a fake sea otter, and it just wasn't working.
purple and slate blue sea otter scarves. Oh my.
Fake fur. There's not a whole lot to say. It's nasty. It burns. It feels terrible. It pollutes the environment. Microbeads in the ocean. It doesn't degrade or biodegrade. But real fur, it's the bomb.
So I love this as a project board. So this is taking from concept to apparel. So can you walk us through this process?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what I do when I come up with concept, and what's really funny is some of the concepts that come up are within the meeting. Like I was on an airplane and came up with this for Irene. This picture has been enlarged to show people here because the picture is actually this big. But Irene needed something to wear to the TANAP convention, and so I came up with the design real quick on the airplane and colored it in. And sometimes you just come up with these spur of the moment, or this is a customer that specifically wanted wolf and river otter hat with sea otter lining. So this is a design I came up with for that. And it's pretty close to concept, from drawing to design to concept to finished product, but there is some allowances to have discrepancies of things that just don't line up right, or that fur doesn't look right. And here it was kind of boring with the seals, so I actually added fox and little pieces of white sea otter in this one. So it's not on the original drawing, but it is on the actual original that sold to the Sioux Museum. So I have 3 fur machines. This one is Joan Jett. I also have Wally and Walter. Wally is a medium B machine, and he sews majority of my work. Walter, he's a big bite bonus machine, and he takes big bites out of bear and moose and all that thick stuff. But all of them behave quite well. Wally can actually act up sometimes and skip a few stitches now and then, but I yell at him and he just snaps right back into place.
It's great to have such wonderful machines to sew fur. The caveat is there's nobody to work on them when they break.
Well, that takes us back through to the blanket. So can you tell us a little bit about it? We've come from Bullet and we're here and we've arrived at blanket.
We arrived at the big blanket. So this is a sea otter blanket with actual Kotzebue links, harvested from an elder up in Kotzebue named Ross Schaefer. He is an amazing trapper. And a lot of pieces went into this, cutting out pieces. These are actually individual pieces, and then they're stitched with the otter. These are otter parts of the neck, and then this is actually the legs of the sea otter, or legs of the lynx. And I want to utilize all the links that I have and stuff. So the legs really create depth and tufting. But the real hero is my mother, who actually hand stitched all of the lining and stuff that went in. She went around in circles, stitching by hand, every little stitch, turned under, blind stitched. So I owe her a great deal. Thanks, Mom.
The main thing I want you to take away from this exhibit is that we are about to lose our traditional skin sewing because we are losing our good quality tanners. When I lose my tannery, I will no longer be in business.